Hey, what's up, y'all? Part-time adult here. My name is Aurelio. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Today, I want to talk about getting involved when you're in college. Now, when I went to college, my plan was to just go and graduate. And that's a fine plan. If that's your plan, cool. However, one thing that made my college experience 1,000 times better was getting involved and doing stuff on campus. For me, it started with photography, and it was not by my design. You know, all the Miami dudes, we used to hang out on this part of campus, and you had like the Chicago dudes over there and like the locals over there. And one day, one of the Miami dudes, a guy named, we used to call him Demps, that was his last name, he came by and he had a camera around his neck. And I asked him about it, and he said he was taking an elective, and I asked him how he liked it. He's like, yo, it's actually really cool. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna try that next semester. So I signed up for this photography class, and the very first day, my professor is like, we only have 10 cameras, and there were 20 students. So 10 of you are gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna do a raffle. And my name did not get called. So I did not have a camera. And I reached out to my dad, and I said, Dad, I need a camera. I have a photography class. And my dad's like, I have a bunch of cameras. I love photography. And I was like, wait a minute. That's right. I have seen my dad take pictures before, but I just completely forgot because my dad is really a music head. Like he's an audiophile. He's got the super duper system with the acoustics and all this, the platinum flat wire and all that stuff. That's him. But I forgot that he liked to take pictures, so he was like, I can send you a camera. And I was like, all right, cool. So he actually sent me this camera, this right here. You see that right there? No, wait, you can't see it. Let me get it right here. This is I don't know if this is a Nikon FM1 or FM10, but you know, old school. And this is built like a tank. This is where it all started. This is manual focus. And I will never, let me not say never, but I have no plans on getting rid of this anytime soon. Even if I'm not using it, it'll be on the shelf somewhere. Love this camera. This is the Genesis. And I got into photography really, really quickly. And eventually, I got hired as an assistant photo editor at the FAMUN, which is the school newspaper. I don't know what the stats are now, but at the time, it was the most frequently published college newspaper that was student run in the Western Hemisphere, which was crazy. We were about that life. And I also got a taste of digital photography there, but my dad eventually also sent me this next camera, this Nikon N8008. See if you can see that. Okay, lights here. All right, where are we? Where? Okay, N8008. This was a game changer because this was the first camera that I had that had autofocus. So this got plenty of run, plenty of playing time. I was doing sports. I was also doing sports with the manual focus now, and I was getting nice with it. And I won like photographer of the year or something like that back in the day. And then eventually I got this Nikon F3. This is a legendary camera, F3. Unfortunately, this did not work. Something was wrong. I don't know if it was with the shutter or something, but I wasn't able to take advantage of this one. But still love you the same, even though you're not as successful as my other children, but I still love you the same. And eventually when I graduated, then I got this D100. Again, my dad sent me this as a graduation present. Obviously has no lens on it right now. This was my first digital camera, super duper workhorse. And this has taken me to the BET Awards. I've got pictures of Beyonce, Rihanna, Lil Wayne, Khaled, LeBron, Nas, Lupe Fiasco. Quick Lupe Fiasco story. So I was at the, I think it may have been BET or Soldier. No, I think it was BET. Anyway, I'm at like the red carpet just like wrapped up. I see Lupe Fiasco and I was like, yo, can I take a picture? And he was standing really close. I was like, can you do me a favor? Can you step back like 1 foot? Like, you know, just a little bit. And then he goes like this, I'm gonna stand right here. And I was like, perfect. All right, cool. Shout out to Lupe, one of the greatest lyricists of all time. I think top 3 in my opinion. But yeah, this is seen it all. Super duper workhorse. Took it all over Miami, all over LA. Love this. Models, artists, you name it. And this is 6 megapixels. So think about that. You know when you're shopping for your cameras, this only has 40 megapixels. Like, unless you're printing out a billboard, like you don't need 40 megapixels. Okay. But when I tell you that photography opened up so many doors, it's taken me so many places. I'm so thankful for that day that I met up with Demps really quick, and he just put that bug in my ear. Photography changed my life. It's opened up so many doors, and I made some good money. You know, I don't really shoot as much now, but I'm so thankful. And I learned a lot on my own, to be honest, because when I got these cameras and I was taking that class, I bought the book for the class and I lost the book the day I bought the book. So I had to learn by self-teaching, but mostly I learned from this guy named River. This guy used to work at, I think it's called Tallahassee Camera, and when I used to go buy like film and stuff like that, River was the guy who was there. So I said, "Hey River, what does this mean? What does this do? You know, what is this button right here?" And he would teach me right there, like at the counter. You know, so I would go for like these little impromptu 10 to 15-minute lessons by River. Appreciate you, River. I hope you're doing well. If you, I'm hoping you're still around. But if you are, I hope you're doing well. And he taught me a whole lot, so I appreciate that. But man, when I tell you this thing right here is powerful. It's powerful. It makes people stop. It freezes time. To be able, imagine telling LeBron like, "Hey, hold on, quickly," and he does it. You know what I'm saying? They don't always do it, but most of the time they do. When you point a camera at somebody, they're gonna react one way or another. So you know, if you're thinking of getting into photography, whether if it's something that you want to make a career out of, or if you want to just have fun with it, like just dabble in it. It's life changer for me. Love it, love it, love it. And you know, obviously, I'm doing this YouTube thing. When I got into photography, I never thought that I would be doing video. Eventually, I got into video, and here's a video about how I got into video. Or actually, not really how about, well, just some cool experiences like shooting at YouTube and stuff like that. I've been able to contribute to videos that have like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. And I learned a lot, and just really I'm proud of the work that I've been able to do. And a lot of it was what a wise man once said, was just happy accidents. Like I did not plan this. It was all just happy accidents. So yeah, definitely highly encourage you to get involved, whatever your medium is, if it's photography, if it's music, art, whatever. Another way I got involved in school was through poetry, believe it or not. I actually been writing poems since I was a kid. I haven't written in a good minute, but every now and then I'll jot down a couple of bars here and there. But when I was in college, I got really into spoken word poetry. And I got to perform and meet a bunch of really cool people. And I got to open up for Def Poetry when they were in town. I got to perform like on the same stage as like world-class poets like Talam Acey from Jersey, who's an amazing poet, and it just made me a better writer. And poetry has been something that's it's just been a powerful medium for who knows how long. I mean, think about it. And poetry has been such a powerful medium for, my goodness, how long? That also led me to open up for the Last Poets and their legendary poetry group. And so, and obviously if you're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or even YouTube, there's so many dope poets out there. If you have a way with words, by all means, there's always an open mic somewhere. So definitely get involved. That actually led to me being a performer for the intermission of a play in school. There was this lady from St. Louis, a student who was doing this play, and she needed like intermission acts. And I auditioned, and I was able to perform in the intermission, and like the crowd, they loved it. And it was just a really, really cool moment. So that was another way that I got involved. And I still like to write. Like I said, I may not sit down and write full-blown poems, but if I come up with like a dope line, I'll open up like my Google Docs on my phone, and I'll just jot that down, and I'll kind of get back to it later. Another thing that I did to get involved was I got on the radio. So much fun. If you ever have the opportunity to get on a radio or on a podcast or something like that, by all means do it. Now, I am one of those people who think podcast equipment should be more expensive just because there's a bunch of goofiness out there, and anybody could just go to Best Buy, spend $70, and next thing you know, you're talking about all types of foolishness. But getting on the radio, I think that may have been my favorite thing, to be honest. And I wish I had approached it differently, because for me, it was fun. It was just something to do. The lady who taught me how to be on the radio, she taught me how to run the boards and all this stuff and use this thing over here and this thing over here, and this is our playlist. It was a lady from Miami named Cappuccino. That's her radio handle. She's at Power 99 in Philly doing her thing. I love you, Cap. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. Shout out to you and your family, your beautiful family. And she taught me how to be on the radio. Now, Cap was on the radio to be on the radio. She was pursuing it as a career. For me, it was like, hey, this is something to do on a Friday. And I got pretty good at it. I did. And I had a lot of fun. I actually had the highest rated show in the city. I had 44,000 listeners. Again, small, medium-sized market, well, mostly small market, in a town of about 150,000 maybe. So you got what, a third of the city listening to you. And I actually had DJs from the major radio stations call me and be like, yo, you're doing your thing, yo, keep going, you know? And yo, let me hear that Cream by Wu-Tang. And you know, it was just such a good feeling. And one of the coolest things, shout out to my music director, Kalila, I can't remember, but Miss Joseph from New York. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. She let me play whatever I want. She's like, as long as it's clean, like that's it. As long as it's clean. So I'm playing like Big L, Goody Mob, you know, like all types of stuff that, you know, you don't hear on the radio. You know, like that 7-minute freestyle with Big L and Jay-Z, but like I cleaned it because it's pretty dirty. But all types of like, just like real hip hop head stuff. People would call me like, let me hear that Omarion. I'm like, yo, I don't do Omarion. Like, so no disrespect to Omarion, but we not doing that. Don't hit me for no pop music or no super duper popular rap music. Probably not gonna do that. You know, you might hear something like, you know, off of like Tupacalypse Now. You know, I had just full control. It was so great. That was the greatest thing. It was just basically inviting people to listen to my playlist, and I got so much love for it. And man, if I can go back and pursue it as a career, I 1000% would. Now, of course, you know, you can do your own thing now. You know, you got all types of apps and stuff, and you can start a podcast. But just back then, I wish, you know, 20-something years ago when I was doing it, I wish I was thinking like, I want to do this as a career. I just wasn't thinking that at the time. I'm thinking I'm going to go to school, I'm going to graduate, and hopefully I get a record deal. You know, I also played my own music on the radio. I'm not going to lie. I did play my own songs on the radio every now and then. And shout out to Black Caesar out there in Houston. He was the first person who was not me or my producer who was also on the radio to play our music on the radio. So I appreciate that. I actually ran into him a couple years ago at a South by Southwest event in Austin. So shout out to him. But man, that was so much fun. And I got to go to like different events, and you know, I got to like call into the station and be like the reporter and all that. Same thing with like photography. Like photography like took me to all the sporting events. I was on the field. I'm taking pictures of the band. I'm like 2 feet away from the people, you know, the marching 100, you know, so I could like get smacked in the face with a trumpet like at any minute. So I gotta be like really careful. But it was like all access. It was so awesome. Being on the radio was cool because not only did I get to share like my love and my passion for music, but if there was something I wanted to talk about, I could. There was really no regulations as far as like, you know, you can't talk, you just play music. Like, no, I could sit there and have a conversation with my audience. And I remember one time, my senior year, I was actually working at the gas station, and I saw this couple come in, and this guy started cussing at the girl, calling her all types of B words and all this stuff. And I was like, and he left and got in the car and was waiting on her. And when she came to the register, she looked really, really sad. And I was like, are you okay? Like, you know, just like whispering to her, like, yo, you good? Like, you know, you don't need to put up with that, right? And she was just like, she just paid for her stuff and left. And I talked about that on the radio, you know? It was just about like healthy relationships and, you know, just throwing that out there. Just like, yo, like, that's not cool to talk to people like that, you know? I don't know what they're going through, but he just called all types of B words like in front of everybody. It was weird. So, but anyway, yeah, man. I also met some cool people, you know, like when I was on the radio, Killer Mike stopped by. He didn't stop by like during my show. He stopped by somebody else's show, but I used to hang out at the radio station all the time. And I remember I also got to meet like other cool people, like Bryant Gumbel's cousin, Elton, had a sports radio show, and he was dope. And then he went on to go, you know, do his thing professionally. Shout out to Elton and his wonderful wife. Shout out to you. And you get to see people just flourish in different areas. I also got a chance to be on a talk show. So we had a talk show with 4 people. It was myself. It was, let me see if I can remember the names. Pharaoh from Chicago, Blaze from Jacksonville, and Dee from, I want to say she was from, was she from Mississippi or Alabama? But anyway, we had a talk show, a Saturday morning talk show, 4 hosts. Think like Breakfast Club kind of vibe. So no, Pharaoh was from Chicago, from New York. Anyway, So much fun. So much fun. That might have been my favorite part. And now, mind you, we talking early Saturday, like 8 to noon. And we would talk about all types of stuff. We crack jokes. We had people call in. And mind you, oh my goodness. We would have people call in. Let's say it's a Saturday and there's a football game. Let's say it's FAMU versus Norfolk State. People would call in, talk trash, and would start cussing on the radio. Cussing live in front of the world. Like, yo, you cannot do that. Like, yo, you drop in all types of F-bombs and B's and all that. Like, yo, like, we're live. We're live. So we cut people up all the time. But man, we had so much fun. Man, I miss that. So much fun. So I highly recommend you get involved wherever you go. Doesn't matter how big or how small. Like I said, you know, it wasn't planned. I also took pictures for the school magazine, by the way, Journey Magazine. Shout out to Journey Magazine. But when I tell you that opened up doors professionally for me, because I ended up starting a magazine with a friend. I'll make a video about that because ultimately it didn't end well, but I got a lot of good experience and I had like full access to the city of Miami because of it. So it was, I won't say it was worth it because I wish I didn't lose that friendship for 10 years. We're cool now, but still. But a lot of good came from this experience. I became a better photographer. I became a much better writer. I had access to Miami, which ended up helping me out a lot when I moved to LA and got into entertainment journalism. I'm interviewing all types of people, you know, I'm at the Playboy Mansion. Now, mind you, everybody had clothes on, so it's just PG, you know. But it opened so many doors just all over the place. And, you know, I just want to say that I'm grateful for all that. I also want to say that if you don't feel like you're good enough, when I got into photography, I didn't know anything about photography. And when I started taking pictures for the school paper, I was an assistant photo editor. I didn't know what Photoshop was. I was taught Photoshop by my homegirl Wiley from Chicago. Shout out to Wiley, I hope you're doing well. Love you, miss you. And she let me play around, and I'll never forget, the first picture I edited was a picture of somebody wearing like a blue dress, and I made it look like almost turquoise, and she was like, that's fine. And I was like, all right, cool. I wouldn't do that nowadays. But I learned Photoshop. And I wouldn't even consider myself like an expert on Photoshop, but I'm competent. But she allowed me to learn and spread my wings, and ultimately I got pretty nice. And I got a reputation as like they used to call me the photo man or the photographer. Hey, photo guy's here, photo man, hey, photographer, you know. And I can't express how grateful I am for that experience, because even 20 plus years later, it's still valuable. Like, I just took some pictures last week at an event for work, and I won't get too deep into it, but I took some pictures of a gentleman who passed away. An amazing guy. And I was able to take those pictures and have our organization use them as like a dedication to him, you know? So, you know, the cameras aren't going anywhere anytime soon. It's a big part of storytelling. And storytelling, if you haven't realized, it's a big part of not just like being on the internet, but it's a big part of life. You have to be a storyteller. When you are applying for a job, you're telling a story. Tell me a little bit about yourself. That's a story. Your resume is a story. You learn how to be a storyteller. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking now. Get involved. See what activities, see what groups, see what mediums are available on your campus. If your campus has a radio station, if there's a magazine, if there's a newsletter, a newspaper, you know, just different clubs, you know, just multicultural clubs. I remember at Florida State, there was a CASA, the Cuban American Student Association. Like, see what's out there. I promise you, like, you'll gain something from it. Worst case, you meet some cool people. That's it. But, you know, let me know what you think. Are you involved in any clubs at your school, or were you involved in any clubs or just organizations in the past when you were in school, even high school? Like, let me know. Were you in yearbook? Were you in band? Were you in choir? Let me know. Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. And like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Part-time adult. My name is Aurelio. God bless you. Peace.